Hello, Steve here, and welcome to our channel Patio Heat, where we provide visual concepts of infrared heating as well as tips for ideal patio comfort. Check out our patioheat.com website for sales and more information. Please tap that like button if you find this video useful, as it helps others find our channel. Now let's get heating. Alright, so I'm going to just emphasize on this particular drawing here that this is a artistic rendering. Now I try my best to meet all of the dimensional aspects of an application. However, there are some applications where I'm not quite certain of the building structure and things of that nature, so I just would like to emphasize that this is a artistic rendering of this application. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at the overall dimensions. Now we're going to have three different areas of concern here, or possibly even four, you might consider it. So you can see we have this bar stool area here, we have this dining space, or excuse me, a reclining space over here, and then dining over here. And then on the opposite side of the structure, we also have a reclining area as well. Here we have a section that's going to be 14 feet to the edge of the counter is what I have, and then 13 feet to the edge of the slab down here, as well as 12 feet 8 inches this direction to the step. And then also a height here of 9'6" overall throughout this span. We have this area over here that's going to be roughly 20 feet in width, and then the same 13 feet across this direction. You can see that the structure above here also has a louvered area. And then we have this 4 foot and 3/16 of an inch. I think that might be a little bit off, but that's okay. Here we have 6 feet to the edge of the frame of the louvered area. So I think that's about it. Oh, and the height over here I have at 8'6". We have a step up that comes over here. We have a little countertop here. I think there's going to be a barbecue area installed, and also note that we have a fan up here, and that's in the center. So basically I just took some marking points and made a center point here in this area, and then drew a line up to the center of that, and that's where my fan is located. And I'm not sure exactly what the fan diameter is going to be, so we'll just leave it that there is a fan there. Let's just scooch over here to this area here. This will be the entry area, and I have 16 feet by 8, and then a height of roughly I have 8 here, but it might be 8 foot over here. Just this 4 inches isn't going to make a big difference. However, do have the starting point here at 8'4" and 5/16, and then we have a peak up here at 11 feet 3 inches. All right. So I put those dimensions there, like I stated, you know, artistic rendering, but I try to meet the distances that I'm shown here as accurately as possible, and I think that will just show that we are as accurate as we can be here. So let's go ahead and turn that off. All right, so we're going to do different zones here. I'll call it zone 1 through 4. And I think this is what I have set up as zone 1. Now this is because this is a louvered ceiling here, and I'm not sure if there's going to be any beams coming across here where this little notch here is. However, even if there was, there wouldn't be much we could do with that unless we, you know, put 2 struts underneath the louvered section and then put the heater on that strut, and it would kind of take away from some of the effect that this louver would actually have. So what I'm going to do is just look at putting units. Let's see if I have everything here. Yeah, putting units on the outer frame of this louvered structure. And now these are 6,000 watt units, and you can see here I have this one at an angle, and I think I have this at a 35-degree tilt, and then this one here I have pointed straight down to the ground. The doors in the structure here are sliding doors, so they slide and are fit into the edge there. And I just have this centered within the frame itself here, and then I think that's same over here, centered within the frame itself. The heaters are, like I said, 6,000 watt units, 240 volts, and 25 amps. Now they weigh about 18 pounds. They require, basically 2 screws to be mounted within here. So I don't know what the structural integrity of the frame for this particular structure will be, but I think it would be adequate to support the weight of this heater. You'd have to check with the manufacturer before you can make that commitment. And so let's go ahead and look at the quickly the clearances, which shouldn't be an issue whatsoever. You can see we're meeting the 18 inches of clearance on all 4 sides, and also here this is I believe non-combustible too, so unless these are wooden louvers, then we have no concern with that angle here. And of course over here is no issue whatsoever. All right, so let's turn that off and go ahead and look at the footprint of heat. So the footprint of heat, you can see we have a table that can handle 8 seating, and I think we're heating it fairly well. We're just missing the ends just slightly, so you would feel the heat. However, it's possible that you might not get the full effect of the heat on the ends, but and you can also see that the footprint of this particular heater seems smaller, and that is because it's closer to the seating location. So it is in fact going to be a little bit warmer on this side than it would be on this side here. And that's about it. I do think this is going to be a good application for this seating here. Now, all of these spaces that I'm mentioning now are spaces that you would definitely want to consider utilizing a control system for, because these are 6,000 watt units. We are putting several units out here, and there are times where you'd wish to have more control than you would have 100% on or even 50% on. There's a duplex switch you can use, which would allow you to do the 50% on, but I would highly recommend considering a full control system with 3 to 4 zones installed on it. So here's the second zone area, which is this reclining area. And now these heaters are a little bit higher off the ground, so your footprint will be a little bit wider. And let's go ahead and confirm that we have our clearances met. So here you can see that we physically don't have the clearance met from this fan blade. Now, if this fan blade is a metal fan blade, then this is not an issue. Otherwise, we need to move the heater out so that it is 18 inches from this edge of the heater to the fan blade's furthest distance that it reaches towards the center of the heater. I do have these heaters centered in this span with alignment with the fan. And then if we go back to the dimensions I have them at 7'5", so you may have to move them out, as long as you're within 9 foot center to center on these heaters and meeting the clearances that you need. If this is again a steel fan blade, then it's not a combustible surface, and that wouldn't be an issue. But if it's a wooden fan blade, then yeah, we need to make sure we met that 18 inches, but we can go up to 9 foot center to center and still get some crossover at this height, and that would be acceptable. So just bear that in mind. Let's go ahead and look at the footprint of heat. So footprint of heat, you can see that we're covering this whole area fairly well, and I don't see any other issues with the coverage here. So I think that would be a really good application. One other thing I might mention is that this is a balcony above, and that you can possibly flush mount these if you have the trusses going this direction with the heater, or if you decided to put it from this direction here to here, that might also be something that would function for you well. You can see though that this is not heating up the bar area very well, and that's something just to take into consideration. So there you go for zone 2. All right, let's go ahead and look at zone 3. Zone 3 would be considered this bar stool area, and again, you could flush mount this unit. I don't see any issues with clearances to combustibles on something like this. I have centered the heater itself above the center of the bar, so from left to right, center is the heater center, and then just over the edge of the bar edge here, and that means we'll get good coverage throughout this space here. Now, being that you're sitting a little bit higher, about a foot higher than the normal seating height, you definitely want some control system on a 6,000 watt unit. You may even choose a 4,000 watt unit, and even on a 4,000 watt unit you may wish for a control system. So if I had the power, I would go with the 6,000 watt unit only because it gives you more flexibility. But if I didn't have the power, then you can consider a 4,000 watt unit, and even if you had a 4,000 watt unit, consider a control system for it. And again, you can flush mount that. So that would be the zone 3. Let's look at the footprint of heat. Footprint of heat, you can see we have the whole countertop here for the most part covered, and I think that would be a very good application here. So let's go on here, and we'll go to our last and final zone here, which would be your zone 4. This is the entry area to the home, so you may or may not wish to have this particular unit here, but again, I think I have these at about an 8-foot center to center. I don't have that shown here, so let me throw that on real quick here, and we'll look at that. Give me 1 second. And here we go at 7'11", so center to center at 8 foot is probably ideal for this space, and this is a very good application. So let's go ahead and turn that dimension off here, and you can see I've matched the slope of the ceiling with the bracket and then pointed the heater straight to the ground. All heaters are pointed straight to the ground with the exception of the one by the dining space there. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the clearances to combustibles. So clearance to combustible using the OEM bracket with this slope here. Now the slope I mentioned earlier with the dimensions you should be able to figure out that the slope is adequate or not, but you can see we're not penetrating the ceiling in any way. These cannot be flush mounted because of the way that the heater needs to vent. So on a slope ceiling, you have to surface mount them, and I'm sure there's probably a beam over here and a beam over structural beam I should say over here and over here. You could mount it to that and point it inwards. However, you're not going to get the coverage in the center of the space if they're that far apart from each other. So let's go ahead and look at the clearance, or excuse me, the footprint of heat. So you can see with this, oh, and by the way, these are 5,000 watt units. So these are the CD5024, 5,000 watt, 240 volts, and you get a lesser footprint of heat from long direction here, and about the same from this direction here. So we have good crossover, and we have the whole entire space here heated with those two 5,000 watt units at that distance apart. All right, well, I hope this has helped. If you're looking for some assistance with your outdoor heating application and you would like us to review what you have, please send your information to designs@patioheat.com. I'm Steve. Thank you very much, and don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps us out with the YouTube algorithms, and we appreciate that so much. Have a great day.